From Riverdale Studios, Sioux Falls, this is A Comic Book Look.
Welcome to A Comic Book Look, your weekly comic book show. We talk about anything in the comic book industry. You want it, you got it. My name's John. We got Tom over here. And special guest, Mr. Corbitt, returning to our ranks.
He's back.
We are
another
just...
movie one.
We're doing awesome. The AKA I got today, guys, is AKA we had a big weekend. All three of us did. And we are amongst plenty of comic book fans. Just across the country.
Totally.
Great weekend.
We and he's talking about we saw the Avengers. All three of us did, and it was beyond good. I mean, I couldn't be more happy with how everything turned out. So, we'll get that out of the way right away, and we're going to have a positive Marvel show today. We're not going to leave.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, we've had enough negativity in our shows towards Marvel recently, so today we're going to, if you guys want to hear that, watch the previous two episodes, but today we're going to forget all of that, and we're going to just talk about how well we like that. And today is the glorious of all holidays, which is...
Free Comic Book Day.
That's right. Our favorite. I love going every single year. I get to bring my daughters. They love seeing everybody. We get a local group dresses up in all Star Wars outfits, from Darth Vader to Stormtroopers to,
They got
501st. Check them out.
Yeah, 501st is,
they're awesome.
and they're really cool. So they're always support charity, and they dress up and make money for charity, and super geeky and awesome. But yes, today, it's gonna be a good episode. Corbitt's back. You would remember him from the last time he was on. We had a show on, was it Batman?
Year One.
Yeah, Batman Year One, the animated. And so we thought we better bring him back, get his interpretation. But for people who, since now we're on the Inveterate Media Junkies website, we weren't on the last time you were on, so kind of tell our new watchers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a graphic artist, animator, neighbor.
That's right.
And I've been into comics and drawing and whatnot all my life. So
Exactly.
What more can I say?
Exactly. And thank you for coming on again. Obviously, we always like to have a little more input. Me and John can get old listening to us too.
Yeah.
We get it. So we'll bring you something new. And so first, we're talking about books, right, John?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Everybody grab their stacks. What are we going to talk about first? Who's going to go? I got a pretty deep stack. I got like 5 books to talk about. So I'm gonna, since I got back and forths. So I'm going to talk first. Free Comic Book Day. For those who don't know, it's one day a year, always the first Saturday in May. You can go and get free comic books at your local comic shop. The publishers support it and send out these comics for free. And our store does a lot of great things that go on top of it. Half price books. All comic-related items half price. So graphic novels, sets, old ones. It's really awesome. And you can get great deals, but also you can get great free comics. And it's not always the greatest comics that you get for free, but some of them ended up being pretty cool. And it's a time for the publishers to kind of sell you on why you should pick up comics.
What's coming up for the year.
Exactly. And so I'm going to start with Serenity. I thought this was... I got this right away because, first of all, I love Serenity. If Serenity did have an ongoing... comic series, I would totally buy it because I can't believe that only went one season, then one movie. But anyway, Zach Whedon, that's Joss Whedon of Avengers fame. Now we get to say that instead of Buffy fame. Now we say of Avengers fame.
He's still Buffy.
His brother wrote it, and then Fabio Moon, kind of a fan favorite. I know for some of us. Who love Fabio Moon. Some people don't like him so much, but...
Sorry, that's my opinion.
I'm just kidding. But yes, that's why we need guests, because you can't ever like everything, and we need different opinions, but this was really good. It started out, it's your standard. They land on some odd planet, and it's a really short story. They land on some odd planet. Some guy with on a cowboy suit comes in and tries to steal the ship from Mal, and he has to take care of business and ends up not, and then River has to come in and really kick ass, and so that was pretty cool to see River dominate again, since we haven't got to see so much for since they weren't able to play out her character as much as we did get the awesomeness in the movie, of course, but it was really cool, and I love seeing Fabio Moon. His art is so just cartoony and quick and fast and loose. It's just so cool and unique. Ends up being that his storytelling is so good because of it, and I just, you never have a question of what's going on, and his characters are so just uniquely cartoony and cool. And so yeah, I definitely that's a really cool thing that Dark Horse did, was give us a Serenity story. And then since this is on the front, we'll talk about on the back. They also had the Star Wars. Did you read the Star Wars one?
I did, actually, yeah.
Did you read the Star Wars one? No, not yet. Well, this is by Zach Whedon as well, but then by David Fabry, probably, who knows. That's who writes it, or drew it, and it was your basic Han and Chewie quick tale. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Again, I don't know, the art wasn't that great. Like the Chewbacca, like the rest of it's fine, but the guy cannot draw Chewbacca.
And even Han's face sometimes is really awkward. I feel like his mouth is like a little off or something. I don't know.
His ships and stuff. He's a very good ship designer.
Yeah, I think all the backgrounds and the backgrounds are really tight and the ships are really tight, but his character work just.
But what up with that?
Yeah, totally. It's like, you know what?
Did Chewie lose 20 pounds or something?
20 is like 60. And, but
awesome.
And it's fine if you're going to do his face like that, but then it doesn't even really stay consistent.
I don't know. And it didn't.
Which is the whole thing. If you're gonna make, if you're gonna take a famous character like Chewbacca and then turn him into something and be a little bit different, that's totally fine with me, because I love different interpretations of characters. But then, be consistent. But obviously, it's probably kind of a new writer, or maybe he's not. I don't know, but I haven't seen a lot of them. And
yeah, Adam Hughes did the cover there, though.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, that looks.
Although it does kind of look like Chewie's eating this box.
I love this. That was his payment for what they got too, and it shows how Han is such a terrible negotiator in that. So that was like kind of funny. Also, another thing to point out is both of these are like getting their ship stolen. So that's kind of funny. Like he's
look,
getting.
It's Mal.
Yeah, it's Mal. Wait. And so they both have a line in where they say, "Oh, how much does the ship cost? Not for sale, not now, not ever." Mal says that, and Han says that. It is hilarious that they decided to include that, and so I'm assuming that would be on purpose. Same writer, and he had these characters that Mal is obviously a takeoff of Han Solo. That's very. That's not a secret at all.
I will say though, I do love this cover.
Yeah, this cover is great, this airbrushing computer style just made him look so good. Yeah, it's awesome. If this is a real painting, that would be even better, but I doubt it. But wow, yeah, I do. It's very good, but we'll throw that up so everybody can look at that. But yeah, on to the next. John, what did you read?
All right, on deck then, I guess. I'll just go through this really quick because that's exactly what it is. The new 52 catalog, I suppose, and it's just kind of, bringing us to some of those new books coming up, kind of what's going on in some of the other books and so forth. So as far as a read goes, I got nothing out of it because of the nature of it, and if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have picked it up because I like reading.
Oh, really? It's not like an actual comic or anything?
It's just tidbits from here and there, and so it's it's interesting, but more of the Justice League hoo-ha, and you get just to meet some different new stories that are coming up. So it's not, if you're into the new 52, it's cool to learn a little bit. I think this actually touches upon the Hooded Gal.
This is the Hooded Gal. That's what I was just going to ask you. Is this the Hooded Gal? Well,
yeah.
At least you get some of that. It looks like it has something to do with the power of Shazam or something. So, so these are. So yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know. I can't even rate this one because it wasn't really even a book.
How about the art? Was there any cool art in here, or nothing really cool to look at?
Nothing really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of seeing.
Which is okay.
Yeah, whatever. It
is what it is.
Like, see, that's why it was so cool. That's why you had to grab this one, is because John gets to put this poster up.
We're gonna hang that up.
Are we gonna?
Probably.
You're gonna have to rip apart your comic book. I hope that's okay.
Maybe I won't.
It's a free comic book day.
Oh, okay.
That is a pretty dope picture, though, of Superman smashing a Green Lantern.
That's Jim Lee.
Oh yeah,
I think I've seen the preview art of this one.
Nice, yeah, totally. This is definitely Jim Lee. Sweet. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
But so what do you think it was? Dope. Pick it up though. If your comic shop,
got so many other
if your comic
choices.
shop has leftover free comic book day comics that they're still giving away when you're watching this, Tuesday when it comes out, I'll get that one. I'd go with the Serenity Star Wars one. Why both of them are short stories, really fluff and nothing to them. It's always fun reading a Chewie and Han story, and it's always reading Serenity. Fun reading Serenity. So, all right, who's next? You guys?
I'll pick up the Avengers here.
All right.
Which is a complete one, which is pretty rare. Most of the time when we've been in there, it's always been these double issues.
Yep, and so the short.
And so this is a whole one.
Nice.
It's kind of like a little 0.1 of the Age of Ultron. And full disclosure is I've been an Avengers fan for a really long time. Picked them up off and on since I was about that big. And been away from it for about a little while. So I'm looking at the cover of this, and after that Fear Itself stuff, we were talking about this earlier, is I don't know if Bucky is still alive or not. So I'm not sure when this is supposed to take place.
Yeah, exactly, because, I mean, we were discussing it before. None of us finished reading Fear Itself. I was under the assumption that Cap Bucky was alive. But we do know that he died in Fear Itself. So, you know, we're really a little bit confused. I just want to go with I don't care anymore, and I hope he's alive. Yep. And I don't really want to know anything that happened. And let's just keep, I like having Cap, you know, Steve Cap, and I like Bucky Cap, so... that's what we're going to go with for this show.
I'm not sure when this is supposed to take place, but it looks like they're tying in when they kind of relaunched the Avengers a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was like a year ago, too, I think, about probably.
And they're introducing, you know, people from SWORD.
Nice, yep, I love that. Beast and Beast's girlfriend. You know, I like chicks who are green and have green hair. Yeah.
And basically it's starts out with Spider-Girl, or Spider-Woman, I guess. There's too many spiders.
Totally.
Getting captured by the intelligentsia, who are all these guys.
Claw.
All the smart guys, except for maybe Claw.
Yeah, but those are some smart guys. Those are the guys, you know, I remember that. That's when they were like all about the top smartest people in the Marvel U, and they were capturing them all.
And the Mad Thinker and the MODOK, and they have a space knight that they captured, and so I don't know what they knew about.
So did it make sense to you? Did you like the story?
I kind of did. It's how they're bringing Ultron back.
Yeah.
That's the big surprise. Age of Ultron, who knew? And,
cat's out of the bag.
So I'm sure that'll be coming.
So yeah, he shows up at the very end and decides that he's not going to stick around and fight because he's not prepared for it, and blows up or something and disappears.
Nice.
And
since you got a full comic, you gotta have to give it a full rating. We do 5-star system, art and story. You can rate it differently if you'd like, but you have to do one overall.
Well, as a kind of a prequel, I guess it would be just kind of a setting up the story. It flowed pretty well. I'll give it a 3.5.
Nice, yeah.
And art, I've always kind of liked the Avengers art.
Yeah, that's Butch Geist. I can just tell from here too. He's a pretty standard
3.5.
artist.
I'll give it just 3.5.
Yeah, nice.
Better than average, not blowing out of the water.
That's usually what we've got from him lately. Yeah, I've been also off the Avengers lately, so I mean I haven't. You know, thank God they have that movie to give me some good Avengers because the comics suck dick. But anyway, I'll go with the next one. I picked up this one. This is from 12 Gauge Comics. It's called Ride, Nathan Edmondson and Paul Azaceta. And it was my favorite one that I've read. This was really out of nowhere. 12 Gauge Comics, I actually haven't even ever bought anything from them or heard of them, but they had the comics there, so I picked this one up because I do like Nathan Edmondson. He was supposed to really rock my socks on Grifter, and he didn't, but he has done cool stuff at Image and other places that I have liked. So I opened this up, and it's this black and white book, but it is really cool how they did it. They did a whole bunch of those old style shadowing with those stamps that they had to like actually use in comics back in the day to make shadow, and it ends up being just really cool.
Graph tones.
Yeah, graph tones. And like there's never any edges to these books, so it's just like it kind of gives it a weird feel and vibe that you don't get from the normal comics because there is no edges like you would get in a regular comic book. And it ends up being kind of a short story, and then on the other side is this Annie, or Auntie, and I read that as well since this ride was short, but it was good. It was guys go to a party, and he really plays along with, you have to know, Nathan Edmondson makes, I mean, you basically have to know how REM Perfect Circle and the B-52's Rock Lobster songs go to really get this to work, because it totally plays into the vibe. So the music's going in the background, and it tells you like what part of the song is. And since they're both very familiar songs, I mean, I know which each how they go, and it really adds to it. And it's about a guy who takes a girl on a drive and then ends up killing her. And it looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of different creators kind of have this genre to play with, old Southern car story, and then they're gonna all do their own take on it, because they have just a huge list of great creators that are going to be working on it. So we'll be excited to see what happens. The other side is Annie. I didn't like it as much. The art really couldn't get into it. Looked like it was supposed to be almost some sort of assassin or fighter going in, and then it kind of got supernatural at the end, but it didn't really hold my grab or anything like that, so I won't be checking that out. But you know, if you kind of like Witchblade and Top Cow and the darkness, you actually might kind of like this Annie. But you know, those are comics that I'm not, as me, that my kind of reader is not gonna like it that much. So yeah, who's next?
I got one left.
Do it.
Okay. I got I didn't get it, you did.
Yeah, actually, Mabel, thank you, my daughter.
Spider-Man, free comic book day edition.
Season 1.
Season 1. And a smart move, and I say that because we got, the Twilight Spider-Man movie coming out. But I say it's a smart move because this is an introductory, introductory situation for people that aren't familiar with Spider-Man. So it's definitely a good move to help, younger readers or people that just want to get familiar, to check it out. And,
who's not familiar with Spider-Man again?
well, you know what I mean, though. Right.
No.
But, it really is. I mean, it really is. It starts out, getting bullied at school, getting bit by the spider, yada, yada. Since I know it, I was kind of bored with it, but...
It is season 1. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
They've had those X-Men season 1s. It's supposed to be for that person who is 10 years old, who's just, seen the cartoons and wants to read it in comic.
So, it's a good move.
I'm glad they're doing it, but whatever, is it aimed towards me, or would I ever buy a season 1 book? Obviously not. I mean, I want another origin story, like I want another hole in my head, So, yeah. Did you read Spider-Man at all?
Nope.
No. Yeah, me neither. Okay.
I got the one that I did pick up here on. I'm not sure. Maybe you suggested it.
Yep, I sure did. Because
Atomic Robo.
a lot of people talk about how good Atomic Robo is. I've never read a lot, except for I think I've read about 2 comics, and they were pretty good. It wasn't even a completed story, but it's just kind of funny and indie and something cool. And I know people out on Inveterate Media Junkies liked it, so I told Corbitt to pick it up. He got it.
And I did. And
let's see what he thinks.
I enjoyed it, actually. The art is very simplistic and cartoony.
Yeah.
But it works really well with the kind of this crazy story that runs through here with this Dr.
I was going to say, is that a dinosaur?
He is a Dr. Dinosaur who apparently he's trying to blow up CERN, and he sneaks in, of all things, a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex.
What's on that Tyrannosaurus head?
With guns.
Awesome.
I
should have got that.
And then
that is awesome. I can't wait to read it. I did get that
He
one.
spits out 2 little guns here, and he catches them. So it's pretty funny. I enjoyed it.
Yes, that is awesome. That is right up. That's the kind of stuff that me and John both like.
So
this is our middle ground, though.
I didn't think I was going to like it when I was just kind of looking through it, and then it's pretty wordy for the beginning. I'm like, I don't know.
Exactly. When we were all sitting around, we were like, okay, let's, because it's free comic book day today. We're taping like right after the store. I was like, okay, everybody read a comic so we can talk about them. I opened Atomic Robo, the first page is all wordy. I was like, yeah, I'll read the next one. So it's funny that you said that.
Well, and it's really scientific lingo-y they're trying to go for, and then it goes into the craziness.
Yes.
And so I enjoyed it. Like this Dr. Dinosaur thing is just hilarious. I just picture him with a really high-pitched, whiny voice, and like.
Oh, that's great.
There's it being a free comic book day. There's another kind of thing in the back that's Neozoic, which is kind of some sort of another dinosaur thing, except it's like post-apocalyptic dinosaur. I don't know exactly when it's supposed to take place or what world it is, but
Land of the Lost.
Kind of very Land of the Lost-ish. Like they're either back in time or they're
different world,
different dimension. It looks interesting, actually. The art I found very
really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I kind of figured you were going to probably say it wasn't that good. So yeah, that's kind of
I kind of liked it, and it was
awesome.
It was intriguing, and it was just kind of a little short. Please continue.
Yeah.
And then in fact it says coming this fall.
Yeah.
So that's a long time to wait.
Exactly.
So I probably will forget about it.
Definitely.
But,
what's the publisher that puts this one out?
Red 5 Comics.
So Red 5 Comics, not something you see very often, but hopefully they can. I like seeing these little companies make a bigger mark. I know Atomic Robo has gotten some good hype and stuff behind it, so that's good.
Yeah, and they actually had one other little thing there, a Bonnie Lass. So there's actually 3 stories in this one.
Oh.
Which was just like a couple pages long, and I didn't read it. So
exactly. Well, I think mine's next is Green Lantern and Young Justice. I made sure my youngest, we can get 2 free comics as you go in for the free comic book day. So I always bring like my baby in. She doesn't read comics, but that's 2 extra comics I can get. And so
stacking the deck.
Exactly. So because I know how much my 1.5-year-old loves comics, I got her this one and this one. And this one's probably more up her alley. It does say Superman Family, which my other daughter already grabbed this one, but I wanted to get this one. I didn't realize they were the same comic. And
that happened to me last year a couple times.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, my 2 boys did the same deal. And I'm like, everybody got the same comic. Like, wait a minute.
I thought it looked different. But I got this one because I do read, I watch Green Lantern animated series, and I do watch Young Justice animated series. I think Young Justice is the best animated series for superheroes that's been on since Batman animated series in the 90s. So I was excited to read about it. You got a kind of a funny issue where Razor and Hal get like sucked into this other little time warp why they're Kilowog's fighting Green Lantern or Red Lanterns. And, it's kind of just a fun fluff story, whatever. There's some funny parts, but it wasn't that good or anything. But hopefully you got somebody who sees, the Green Lantern, the DC Hour or whatever on Cartoon Network and picks this up. And then it had a little short story with Young Justice where Artemis and Green Arrow were working together, and then Batman and Robin came in. And it definitely takes place at Young Justice Season 1. Because Young Justice Season 2 just started and they jumped ahead 5 years. There's a lot of new members. The Robin was Dick Grayson for Young Justice Season 1, and now it is Tim Drake. And in that 5 years, they just kind of skipped over Jason Todd. I'm assuming they'll get to him at some point. But then this didn't address that at all. This is a Robin, and the Robin was totally Dick Grayson, not Tim Drake at all. But it was still good. You love seeing these characters. Young Justice is so good. I can't recommend this enough. Great all ages stuff, and get your kids into it. And great TV shows, but way better than the comic. And then the next one I picked up is just Valiant 2012. The reason I got this is because Valiant Comics, they came out in the 90s, kind of around the same time as Image, and had all those kind of things. And I never got into that really. I know there was like some different books that, weren't really my thing, but there's been a lot of things on this, or a lot of kind of hype on this Exo Man-O-War, and so I'm going to check it out. I haven't read this yet, but I'm gonna see if I do like it. I'll let them sell this to me. I'll read Exo Man-O-War, and then if I did like it, I'll go back and get number 1 because I did see that there were some still there at our shop. But yeah, we're up Free Comic Book Day, first Saturday in May. Always check it out. Put it on your calendar for next year. And I hope you guys had a bunch of fun going to the comic shop and, getting your comics and tell us what you got and what you thought of them in the comments below on IMJ. And now to the meat of this TV show, and we're talking Avengers. Marvel's The Avengers is what we're going to talk about. It's the accumulation of all these Marvel Studios movies coming together and making this big, big, epic movie. First we'll kind of, kind of just run through the kind of basic plot line of it, and then we'll talk about what we thought of it, and then like our opinions, and then we'll talk about the things we didn't like about it, and then we'll give the ratings at the end. So who kind of wants to give a rundown of kind of what happened? Corbitt. Come on.
He's wearing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I just have
You're the
one.
guest. You have to
You
talk.
saw it twice, though.
Yeah, that's right. John's already seen it twice. It is Saturday, and John's seen it twice. Okay.
Well, we went to the midnight showing.
Yes, we totally did, and we got split up. Our theater had 4 theaters. We went to 2 different theaters, but we still got split up.
Yeah, but like I said, doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Nobody's
matter.
talking during the movie.
Exactly. We got to hang out before and after. But
And
anyway. So tell what is the rundown? What is the basic
basic plot.
We're
of the
talking
whole
30-second
thing.
pitch,
Right. Loki's trying to take over the world because that's pretty much what he wants to do. Loki from the Thor movie comes in. He's made an alliance with a group of space aliens to help control the cosmic cube, and he wants to control the world and make a big show of it, really.
Yep.
And in order to do that, he wants to have all these superhero people around so he can defeat them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he does so handily a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then accidentally brings them all together for a common purpose. And just kind of like the original Avengers, that was its basic storyline. He was messing around with the Hulk, and they tried to stop it.
Exactly, and it was really cool. They brought all the characters together. A real emphasis on Shield, and and Fury and Coulson, kind of getting this, having the outreach to touch every single one of these members to kind of bring them together in their own kind of odd way. Also, the Cosmic Cube kind of just brings them together for Thor. Brings Thor into the mix, and obviously Loki is his brother. But it's just, it was a standard. I thought it was just your standard Avengers, what you'd want to see. They didn't give too much, of one thing. I didn't feel like anything was lacking too much, and it just
they built up all the characters in their individual movies, so you didn't have to tell. Here's Thor's origin. Here's Captain America's origin. Here's Iron Man's origin.
And if you didn't watch all those and you just watched this, they gave you like a 1-minute synopsis of like their enough that you would know, enough that you should know. And anyway, it's like the most people know Captain America was around in World War II, and know everybody's origin, at least where you can enjoy it. So I'm glad they didn't go in on that.
Because like with Captain America and Thor, those 2 movies specifically, like end their movie and then start in this movie.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like right after you're talking the last part of Captain America is like that's Thor's happening at that same exact time, and it's really cool. I mean, this is like if the same studio owned Indiana Jones and and Star Wars and I don't know Escape from New York and Snake and Han Solo and Indiana Jones all were in the same movie together. It's kind of what it's like.
Han Solo and Indiana Jones would have a hard time putting the same movie together.
I'm just saying. I'm just bringing like big characters. These huge characters from other movies. There's more than one. Dude, Harrison Ford has a duplicate somewhere, and it would work. But I'm just saying to imagine these huge characters. Like Thor's a huge character. Captain America's a very huge character, and Iron Man is beyond huge. And to have all these movies that made millions on their own come together to make this one like movie continuity like it is really something cool because Warner Brothers has had the chance. They've been making comic book movies much longer than Marvel has. They've had this chance, and they've made good Batman movies. They've made good Superman movies, but they've still never been able to put this together where like it is a continuity like Marvel Studios has. Marvel Studios movies look like Marvel Studios movies, and it's really something cool that maybe I never really thought that would come together or work out as well as it has. And so it was really cool to see everything. The plot, of getting Avengers together, testing them out on what they tested them out on this big raft, a shield hover raft, and you kind of really get to know how they're going to work and what's going to happen, and kind of set it up, and you get to know the characters, so it builds up for this extremely climatic, action-packed adventure of alien invasion for the second half, and it just is it's really awesome how they do all that and then wrap it up. I loved it. I think let's go through kind of our favorite parts. John, what's your favorite part?
We gotta throw spoiler alerts all over this.
Yeah, whatever.
By the way, if you haven't seen the movie yet, stop this, go see the movie, then come back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My favorite part, and I might be taking one of yours, I don't know you guys, but I really liked it when Loki just went ragdoll when Hulk grabbed him.
Oh my god!
Wasn't that great?
So funny. So kind of give them a build up so like people know what you're talking about.
Totally. Well, first of all, Hulk and Loki in the same room, and Hulk's kind of pissed off. It's going to be interesting, right? So like, Loki's trying to get a little cocky, and he's like, "I'm not scared of you. I'm a god, and you're just a lowly." And then he doesn't even get to finish his sentence, and Hulk grabs him and just goes boom, boom. And Loki's like a rag doll and ends up pounded into the floor, like shriveled up in a fetal position. Like, oh my god.
And we went to the midnight showing. So I mean, at that part, everybody in the theater was like, "Oh!" because it was just. Yeah. I mean, like Hulk, cool. Loki, you have wanted him to have this coming for all throughout Thor, all throughout this movie. You're like, Loki needs it coming, and then Loki to be so cocky, and then just boom, 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 boom. It was like
that was perfect.
That was awesome. Definitely.
My other favorite part was when Loki was getting the German civilians all rounded up, and then Iron Man and Captain America intervened, and Iron Man's one-liner, "Make a move, reindeer games," with his weapons all. That was like my favorite line of the movie because of his horned helmet. So I thought that was cool. That was probably one of my favorite one-liners.
I think one of my favorite things is throughout the whole thing is just Cap, his personality of him still being old, like still as serious as can be, and is strong, confident, but still saying things like "golly gee," and
one of my favorite lines in the movie was when they're gave that reference to the Wizard of Oz, like, "Who's your flying monkey?" And he's like, "I get that reference."
I get that one. And then they're like, "Huh?" He's like, "That reference."
Through the rest of the movie, they tell him references. He's like, "What are you talking about? I don't know." And then they put that one down in 1932 or whatever. What is
39, yeah. Wizard of Oz.
I get that one.
I get that one. Because someone else doesn't get it or something. Thor doesn't. Because that's the thing. Like Thor and Captain America are just like men out of their time, and it is like I think Joss Whedon. We got to give him props. He wrote it and directed it. He's a geek fame. If you're watching this show, and you don't know Joss Whedon. There's probably something a little unbalanced because you got to be pretty into comics to watch this show. And if you're into comics, you're probably into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Serenity, and Dollhouse, and Angel, and everything else that he's involved with. And he got to do this movie. And I would say, before this came out, people were like, "Who would you want to direct it?" And I bet a lot of people would say, "I'd love to see Joss Whedon get a hold of the Avengers." And he was able to keep all this action going, but so many parts are so funny. Yep. And during an action movie like this, dude, some of those jokes could fall flat really easily, and they don't. Every time he makes a good joke, it is so funny, and there's just parts that are just so good, like what we're talking about, them being men out of time. Thor says something to Iron Man, and Iron Man looks around a little bit. He's like, "What is this, Shakespeare in the Park? Thou shalt not thine thee!" And it was so funny when
his mother's drapes or something about his cape. That was awesome.
There, and just how Tony Stark is so cocky is just great. I love it. But yeah, definitely check it out. Look for those parts because you're gonna love it. Anybody else's other favorite parts?
Others are just bringing them together and I don't know. I can't. It's like there's so much.
Yeah, there is so much.
My brain hasn't even processed it all yet. Definitely need to see it again.
Yeah.
But they just bringing them all together and having each one not outshine the other. Someone asked me, "So who's the actual star?" Mm-hmm. I said they are all equal. Like every one of them has equal time in that. If you had to take who was the star, you could almost say Nick Fury was the one because he's like the
He
linchpin.
did have a lot of.
Yeah, he is the
more.
linchpin
He was the
here,
more. He had more to do in this movie than he's done in any of his other things, obviously.
Yeah.
So you could say him, but even then, it's.
And I thought maybe because Edward Norton wasn't going to be a part of the Hulk that they would kind of put Mark Ruffalo's, I think that's the guy who played him, his role maybe a little bit down. But, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, Bruce was an awesome character, and so was the Hulk. Hulk was...
I like how they... Because you always forget that Bruce Banner is an intelligent scientist guy. He got himself into that predicament.
Exactly.
But like, you never remember that. But, yeah, him and Iron Man working together to solve the problems. And
Exactly. And they kind of get that connection going on, so it really helps.
And then Iron Man poking him with a stick, trying to turn him into the Hulk.
He's like, I'm not going to do anything. And he's just... it's so funny. But, yeah, it was definitely, overall, just such an awesome movie. Everybody had their own characters, and I think Black Widow going in, I mean, I like Scarlett Johansson. I didn't think she was the greatest actress in Iron Man 2 or whatever she was in before, and I thought coming in she was going to probably have the weakest part, really hard to get a spy to be a character in this movie, you know, a part of the Avengers. She has no superpowers, but ends up being completely awesome. She has two parts where you don't even realize she's interrogating people, and it becomes awesome. And so I just think that Black Widow did such a great job, and it was just so cool how they integrated her and her kind of like her powers of, you know, being able to manipulate men and other people.
I like that they finally actually used the Widow sting.
Yeah.
Like, she's had the thing and she never used it at all.
Exactly. And it's cool. And I like that they keep her costume standard, and she has that, and there's a bunch of, I mean, she's way smarter and way tougher than, you know, than you would imagine. So yeah, I really...
And I'm glad Hawkeye had stuff to do too.
Yeah.
So I was wondering how they're going to pull him in that.
Me too.
And Hawkeye's actually been, as an Avengers fan, he's one of my favorite Avengers. He could be the next Captain America in the Avengers. Like he's like, he could
number
easily
2.
lead the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like he didn't do anything really in Thor. He just pulled his bow back.
Yeah.
And that was his little cameo, obviously.
And I'm sure they just pulled him in quick, just, you know, so it would make a little more continuity sense for us viewers and stuff too. But.
One thing about Hawkeye, and I don't know, like, for me, I always wondered how the different arrow, what they do, kind of things, like that was kind of clarified a little bit. Like, so
how do I get it? I'm reaching back here, and how do I get the one arrow that I need?
Button gives me the rope, or something. You know,
I thought that was handy. So cool. Yeah, because his quiver has like this thing that'll shift at the bottom and load on the arrow he needs, and. Yeah,
and I'm glad he ran out of arrows because I was beginning to wonder.
Yeah, like,
right. He takes one back, and gets a guy.
It's like I'm running. You only have like 20 arrows in there. Like
that was a good move to show him getting them back.
Yeah, like, and also Hawkeye. We don't have an origin of Hawkeye yet. Thank you for not giving me one. Thank you for going right in and making him a character. And we know we don't need to hear all the explanation of why. He is amazing at shooting arrows, and he never misses his mark. That's all we need to know. I mean, there's a time where he has to like plug in the USB, and he's like 100 feet away, plugs in the USB with his arrow, and that's, I mean, it's like that kind of stuff that is really, really cool and drives the story further without having to, you know, like Green Lantern it up with a bunch of, you know, like words ruining what you're seeing on the TV.
I'm glad that I was blah 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 blah.
Exactly. Well, as Hawkeye, as a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., it brings me back to the time when
It is very comic bookish, like, you know, I'm Psylocke and I'm using my Psy Blade here to do this thing every time I use it. Like, we know what it is. You can just stop that.
And I'm glad that they had Joss Whedon to know all these book heroes and, you know, make the right choices in that regard. Another favorite part of mine is definitely, I actually got goosebumps. Thor and Hulk just all of a sudden like kind of get on the same page and just start kicking butt together, and they're just dominating. And all of a sudden I was just like, this is so crazy to see this on the big screen, that I get to see an awesome version of Thor, an awesome version of the Hulk with the CGI not throwing me out that much either,
right.
And so awesome. And then they finally like close down, and they're like both proud of each other, and then like Thor like looks at Hulk to get, you know, probably like some brotherly like, yeah, we did it, and then Thor kind of looks over at him, and then Hulk just punches him, and he just flies off the screen, and it's so funny. It's such perfect comedic timing. After, like, I was getting goosebumps, you know, like, my geekiness is coming out so hardcore. Oh, Marvel, look at how awesome you're doing. And then that happened. It was just hilarious. Loved it, definitely. But yeah, so now let's do ratings. Started off, Corbitt, what'd you think?
Well, I'll give it a. Let's see. I'll give it 4.5 stars.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4.5. The one thing I'll say that was taking it back for me a little bit was I would have liked a little bit more breathing. Like,
Yeah.
it was nonstop. It was like for a while you're like they're like fighting all the time.
Yeah. Like
they show up and they fight each other, then
you go to like the edge of your seat, like within the first 10 minutes, and then you're like, well, I can't really move back from the edge of the seat, you know?
Exactly. So, but that saying, it is an Avengers movie, and in the Avengers book, that's kind of what happens. So,
totally.
So, and you don't really have to learn these new characters because you've already been introduced to them in all their origin movies.
Exactly.
So, it works well. That was the only thing that I would say. That and if you can see it in 2D, just do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because 3D doesn't do
there's absolutely no reason to see it in 3D.
And of course, what are our choices? Only 3D. I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, for the midnight showing.
Yeah, for the midnight showing. I'm just saying, I would have totally chosen 2D. I've been burnt on 3D too many times. Me and John have said it before. Besides Avatar and Tron,
it's not worth it.
I've never even seen a movie in 3D that I would have rather seen in 2D. So it's really has to be a special movie that is like 3D made. And that is definitely not. So yeah, I agree.
The effects were pretty cool. I kind of wanted them to call those little dragon things that came in at the end, like the Fin Fang Foom or something like that.
Totally.
Like then you could set up.
Agreed.
A lot of the stuff for. I know they're talking about using the Mandarin for the next Iron Man.
Oh, are they?
Yep.
Nice.
Possibly. They said they weren't, and now they said they might.
Iron Man 3,
But like
2013.
alien technology, those rings, that's what it is. So.
Exactly, and I think it was kind of different that we didn't have didn't know the alien race. You have alien races. They could have used Kree. They could have used Skrull. They could have used all these different pre-alien races, and this one is not one that we've heard of or know about. And then
it was in the comics.
It was an
obscure one.
Exactly, not one that you would have thought maybe they wanted to serve up. They didn't make that the big point. And I was thinking the whole time, who could be doing this? And then in the after previews thing, obviously spoiler on all this stuff. In the after previews thing, it ends up being that these people that are leading this alien race is actually like their master is Thanos, which is just exciting for us Infinity Gauntlet fans and our Cosmic Marvel fans.
That's right.
And so
I got a little Thanos at home sitting on my desk.
See, exactly. And so that was really cool. And then also, before I give my ratings, I also wanted to say we stayed for both the trailers afterward, or both the movie clips afterwards. The first one is Thanos. Then all the way after the credits, they totally give a shout out to Brian Michael Bendis. No, a lot of people don't like his writing on the Avengers, but he's always been critiqued as saying he'll have a few pages where the Avengers are eating pizza, eating tacos, eating burritos, eating Chinese food, and everybody's like, I don't want to see my Avengers eat Chinese food. It's stupid. I want to see them punch people, And
I like it that's inhuman.
Yeah, exactly. And then so it was hilarious. They're sitting around this small New York Greek restaurant, all eating like some sort of gyros. Shawarmas, yeah. And eating shawarmas and no talking at all. They have obviously just been beaten up, gone through the whole entire epicness of that happened at the end of the movie. Like, Captain America can't even eat. He just looks like he's just like almost mad at being there. Thor's just mowing down, and it's absolutely hilarious. The shout out to Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah. Didn't say it all.
Yeah, I saw the first one and I was like, the chances of there being a second one is pretty slim. I'm leaving. And normally I stay through the whole credits, but I was just really late.
Yeah, 2:45 in the morning came, and it was
and I had to work, so I was like, all right, I'm calling it. And darn it, I called it incorrectly.
Well, totally. My ratings is I'm gonna totally give this also 4.5 stars. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I liked every moment. Overall, the only thing that brought it down a half star is I just thought there were some open plot holes. I mean, not open plot holes, but just like open things that, like, why would you do that? You know, what's this going on? Come on, make this other decision. Like when it came to the hover raft at the beginning, you know, it wasn't all that clear, but nothing that would ever. Everything ended up working out. Everything ended up turning out okay. But just as I was watching it, I was going, well, you know, would that really happen? Why would you do it this way? But you know, it's you need to go with it. It's comic books, so.
Yeah, there were a couple of little scenes that kind of felt really written to me.
Yeah.
Like the one where they rounding up all those guys and having them kneel, and then the Avengers show up on cue and doing the.
Exactly.
That
like
felt
Germany.
really like okay.
Exactly. And so there's like those kind of little things that, you know, whatever, I can get over it. I know it's a big old blockbuster. Mm-hmm. They're going to kind of have different things like that you know, overall though, with everything that you have to work with, it didn't
from it so much.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely 4.5 stars. And John?
Well, you know, honestly, guys, I'm gonna have to give the movie a 1 out of 5. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's gonna be.
I thought it sucked so bad I saw it again the next day.
4.5 out of 5 for sure. The only complaint I really have about it, every time Hawkeye says something intense, does he have to snap his bow? What do you need? I need an eyeball and a target. Next scene. Do you have a suit? Yes. You know what I mean? It's just like.
Yep.
Come on.
I agree.
Come on.
And they made
Hawkeye evil. Would you not snap it all the time?
I would totally snap it all the time. I get to work. I am punching into my phone. Put it on my desk.
Hold on a second, guys. Just that was very funny and super cheesy.
You know what I mean?
I almost after he did it the second time, I was like, "Come on, guys, you can't have him do that again." And he did do it like another time.
So that's my only complaint about the movie. But great film. Great film. All in all.
Way to go, Marvel! You did a great job on this. Marvel Studios really seems to have their act together, and I'm glad that they're doing it. This is the age of CGI, and you can make a superhero movie now, and there's nothing to hold these people back like there was when they made Captain America in '91.
Oh,
you know?
Oh my God!
And if you're wondering, our review. Go back and watch our review of we did Captain America, the first Avenger, and that we. Even throw in some really nice clips from the 1991 movie to compare how terrible it used to be. Oh,
and I will say this about Captain America this time. I was not a big fan of what I had seen of his costume, the changes on it, and his helmet didn't look very. I don't know why they just didn't use what he did in the earlier movie of his own. But that being said, it worked a lot better on screen. Like
it did. It didn't work as bad.
It didn't bug me as bad as I thought it was going to.
Yep, and you're totally right, because I think they even addressed it. I think a lot of people had hesitancies. Captain America is a very odd costume. I mean, it works in a comic book, but it doesn't necessarily work in real life.
Right.
And so even when Coulson was like, he was like, "Are you sure I need to put on the red, white, and blue? It seems kind of old-fashioned." Coulson kind of like talks to Captain America about how, you probably do need it now. And, just, it wasn't like a blatant apology saying,
You're a symbol, be a symbol.
Yeah, it wasn't a blatant apology saying, we know that his suit is not the best looking, but, just go with it. But it was just a good thing to, kind of address and talk about. And it
I
ended
thought
up making it nice.
his suit in his own movie worked really well.
Yep.
And whatever helmet design they did for that, they should have just kept. Because I didn't like the helmet one for this one as much.
I kind of didn't like the helmet, but I didn't like the one in the earlier movie as much either. I mean, it worked, but I thought there were still problems. But how about Phil Coulson has been in every single one of these guys, and Phil Coulson died.
Not anymore.
Yeah, Phil Coulson died.
Although I was kind of half expecting at the end of the end cutscene to be a little Phil Coulson bed with like a beep beep.
Yeah, I thought there would be something when
but they
Jackson,
did set him up. They did set him up pretty well to be offed.
And
by the way, there's a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, when Jackson's like, "Nope, not today, soldier. You're not dying today," I thought he was like, he's going to be able to pull out of this. Yeah. But then he does, and it was like, that actually kind of, it was kind of a touching scene. He has been in everything. He's kind of like this, blue collar guy that happens to be a part of the Avengers, and it's kind of funny. And they just introduced him into the Marvel universe. He just was like in a comic book 2 weeks ago for the first time. So. He becomes this immortal character in comics, and he dies in the movies.
It being Avengers,
Yeah.
He probably won't be dead for too long.
No, who knows? I hope they do. I hope in the movie they make the right decision and we don't see him again, because it was a really good catalyst to bring the group together and fight for something. But overall, great movie. Go see it. Avengers, Marvel's The Avengers. There's a lot of hesitancies that we've talked about recently with the creator rights and how a lot of creators are handled by Marvel, but understand that we still love these characters, and if you do want to see a great interpretation of them, you have to see this movie. So yeah, thanks for watching. Where to find us, John? Wrap us up here, buddy.
Excellent. Well, again, you guys, great weekend, and hopefully we want to hear all about your guys' weekend's opinions on the movie and so forth. So definitely get at us. You know the drill. comicbooklook@gmail.com. Send us some love letters. We're on Facebook at Comic Book Look. Always check us out on YouTube and hit up InveterateMediaJunkies.com.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, happy again comic book day to you, and Cinco de Mayo, and keep it comics.